I'm Kelly with Kelly Tinnen and Associates. So we work with companies across the globe by empowering your workforce with leading edge soft skill presentations and workshops designed to foster organizational change, accelerate business growth, and strategic change. So don't forget to follow us for weekly updates by clicking the subscribe button and check out our socials by searching Kelly Tinnen. This month and into part of next month, we're going to talk about all things communication, and we're going to discuss different challenges around communication in the workplace. Now, I know I've talked about communication a lot before, but I can't really stress enough how important it is in the workplace and how often we get it wrong, including myself. On the daily, I probably struggle with communication. So I wanted to start this series by talking about lack of proper communication channels, and it really creates this environment where employees begin to feel unheard because they don't have a clear way to communicate with leadership or to communicate with teams. So let's talk a little bit about that. So I looked at various articles when I was researching this particular topic, and you can find some of the articles that I looked at in the discussion notes. I used to work at an office where email threads and email chains were extensive, and it was hard to follow, and quite frankly, it was kind of annoying at times. I think that this becomes more prevalent with remote work, hybrid work, and like technology is like that necessary evil, or that kind of elephant in the room. We need it in the workplace, but it's often overused or not used enough, or it's basically used improperly at times. Because remote work is up in some industries substantially since 2019, which makes sense because, we had a really big culture shift in the workplace in 2020. We don't need to revisit what that was 5 years ago. But y'all know what I'm talking about. And in some professional services and professional roles today, nearly 40% of people are working remotely. This is according to some Bureau of Labor statistics. Again, you can find those notes in the description. But good communication in an organization creates better working conditions and creates this kinship almost, which is important to help teams better work towards a general mission and vision in the organization, or a general mission and vision of a project. So you just have to think a little bit back to your own teams. When communication was good, how projects really flowed well, and when communication is not so good, what happens with that? Spontaneous communication is really where it's at. It's that water cooler talk, and that water cooler talk is not just for recapping your favorite Yellowstone episode. It's really hard to replicate that in a remote setting, but this type of communication is really important for project work because it allows people to come together kind of naturally and to discuss project details as they're in the moment and as they're moving along. So we have to try to replicate that in a virtual or hybrid setting. And so that can happen with tools like Zoom or a tool like Slack. I use Trello in my business, which I have found to be really effective for us to communicate across our distributed teams. But these advanced communication tools do a fair job at replicating that spontaneous communication. Tools like Zoom, tools like Slack, Teams, for instance. I actually am a user and a big fan of Trello. That's a tool that I use in my work a lot. They are advanced communication tools, and they help to try to replicate some of that spontaneous talk that happens. But there are challenges as well, because it creates an easier platform for people to hide from the camera, to not be timely, and that hinders communication and breaks down communication as well. So what can team leaders do? Team leaders want to model the behavior that they want to see. So when it comes to communicating, it's also important for team leaders to use the right communication tools for the message. So we're not going to use Zoom or Slack to deliver urgent news, to deliver bad news. We're not going to use text messages for that. Please don't use text messages for that kind of stuff. If it's urgent, use a video call. Pick up the phone. They still work when you dial them. And people still talk on the phone. I'm doing like the 80s move right here, I guess, apparently. This is I don't know. Anyway, that's what I've been told. But you may have to use more than one channel when communicating information as well. So you might have to drop it in your task management platform like Trello. A lot of times I'll drop stuff in Trello and then I turn around and I'll send a text to my team member, hey, just drop some stuff in Trello for you. Check when you have a chance. So you might have to look at what system and routine works best for your team. But again, fragmented communication channels can really lead to disruption and efficiency in the workplace, and it can lead to confusion. So as I mentioned, here are some options and some solutions to that fragmented communication in your workplace. Leading by example, modeling that behavior. So pick a tool and stick with it. Show your team why it's important to use it and the features and benefits. And pick one platform, not 5. But don't forget that even though you're communicating with an advanced communication tool, you gotta have one-on-ones. Scheduling those consistent one-on-one meetings with your team to discuss action items, ensure productivity, ensure that there's mutual understanding, and having those structured feedback sessions, where you can organize meetings and give meetings a structure. I'm gonna tell you, one of my pet peeves, and this has happened to me more times than I can count, is having and participating in a meeting with no structure. It literally, you can tell that it frazzles me because I have Nordic genes, so my whole face turns red. But organize those meetings in a way that are structured and there's follow through so that your team doesn't see them as meaningless and as an annoyance. Meetings should have a purpose. And in those meetings, promoting psychological safety, ensuring that there's an environment where people can share their ideas, can share their thoughts. And it's a safe environment to express those thoughts and to give and to receive feedback. That doesn't mean that everybody has to agree, but we're not creating this environment where people are afraid to share feedback and afraid to give information that may be impactful to their job, to the project, or to other things that could impact to the company overall. So I hope you found this information this week helpful and enjoyable. Don't forget to hit that like button if you enjoyed this video. It really does help us out. And subscribe to this channel for more videos like this one. We've got plenty of exciting content coming up this month that you don't want to miss. Have any thoughts or questions about what we've covered today? Drop a comment below. We would love to hear from you, and I do my best to respond to as many comments as I can. Don't forget to follow us on LinkedIn, Facebook, or Instagram for behind-the-scenes content and updates. You'll find the links to our socials in the description below. And if you're interested in these topics, check out a couple of extra videos I put in the description below that you may be interested in. Until next time, we'll see you soon.